Okay, hello all you YouTubers. I'm back on the XR650L. This will be a part 2 of my other video, which was XJR650L 35 mods. This will be, I've got about 50 mods on it now, and I'm just going to continue where the mods left off, basically. So you can watch the other one, and this will be kind of like part 2. The most significant upgrade on the suspension, I went to the Showa 47U upside down forks. These were available in the 97 through 2005-ish, 2007-ish Honda. These are off the CR250 at 2000. They're all the same except for the valving inside. Anyway, and then you can see my pretty trick Chinese disc guard, which covers the 250mm rotor, because I ended up using the same, or the stock XRL front brake caliper, which is 260mm on the bike, but as it bolts up here, it doesn't match up for the 260, so I ended up getting a 260 and then machining it down to 250 diameter, which works really well. And then another thing I've done, let me go in this way, I've ended up machining my upper triple clamp to match my bar risers that I made previously that you saw in the other video with the KTM top clamps. And these are fly arrow bars, Honda CR high bend, and they're about 2.5 inches higher than the stock ones which have your handlebars in your lap. And I ended up using a 2003 YZ250 lower triple clamp because the steering stops line up better with the lug that's welded on the steering tube on the frame, you know, of the Honda frame. Because what happens is the other one, the CRF and so on, they don't touch, so you end up, people I've seen putting drilling and tapping, and all that does is really just weakens the lower triple clamp, or they're driving in wooden pegs. I don't know what the heck these guys are doing, but anyway, so mine works really well. And I also got the YZ250 front fender, about 2003, and you can see in there where it drilled the heck out of it, so it got good airflow going into the cooling fins. And people have asked about my oil cooler. This is a Hayden power steering cooler. They're about $10–12 at AutoZone. It's 3/4 thick, looks like 3 inches wide and 6 inches tall. And I made my own bracketry. I ended up utilizing the tank mount that's welded onto the frame. And way under here, I just got some piece of angle aluminum and drilled it and bent it and rubber mounted everything with 1/2 inch grommets, one here, one there, and 2 on the bottom. Sheet metal everything. This is all held on by safety wire. Works great. And another thing I ended up putting on was the Acerbis 5.8 gallon tank. They're good tanks, but the bad thing about it is the mounting hardware really stinks. I ended up not using any of the mounting hardware in this tank. It's all heavy steel. You know, nothing fit right. I couldn't use it. I tried heating and bending and all kinds of stuff, and nothing was happening. The only thing I ended up using was the petcocks that came with it. Anyway, so, and then let me see, what else have I done since then? I drilled a hole here so I can get to the compression adjuster on the shock, and that's about it, I think. So I said I've got 50 mods on this thing, and I ended up using the OEM speedometer, which I like. All that, I know it's a little heavier than all the other ones, but that's okay. And then the front wheel is a Honda CRF250X front wheel. Once again, utilizing, I had to go up by the 450X speedo drive. Actually, I think the speedo drive is a 250X, but it's all the same. 20mm axle size. Fits that on there. Had to make a couple of spacers, but everything works great. Everything works great. And so total, I've got about 50 mods onto this bike. And anyway, so signing out, and I think that's about it. There's probably a couple more. I just got back from the Continental Divide ride, 2,600 miles. From the New Mexico border, pretty much loosely following the Continental Divide Trail, all the way up to northern Montana. At the Canadian border, rode this thing with a CV carb. I'm surprised at how weld this thing carbureted. I had to lean it out a little bit from my jetting here because we got up to just about 12,000 feet. And these CV carburetors, they carburate really well. Yeah, you might lose, you know, you might pick up another horsepower or two with the FCR, but these work great at, you know, they're very forgiving at altitude changes. You tip them over, they start right up. They don't flood, they don't get screwed up, they're not finicky. And I know guys have had a lot of problems with them, but on here you can see this is part of the mounting that I did on the tank. I got one similar to this, 1/8 inch aluminum, and I'm utilizing 2 mounting screws, 2 mounting bolts up under the tank here, where the stock hardware only uses 1, and it's kind of crappy, and it screws down hard with no, and these are all rubber mounted. This tank is completely rubber mounted. There was not one part of the tank or any bracketry that I made that is not rubber mounted. So I mean, it fits on there snug. And the good, you know, I like this tank. It's not much wider in the seat junction or for your knees here when you're sitting on the seat. It's really not that bad, and I like the natural color. You can see how much gas. And on the Continental Divide, I think I could go probably 260, 270 miles on a full tank. Anyway, and then so that's about it. I put a different heat shield on the FMF high flow header. So everything looks pretty good. That's it. Signing out.